Yeah, I mean, after the anesthesia wears off and the surgical dressings are removed, you get a whole wide range of emotions. Some people, it's euphoria. It's like, this is what I always wanted.
Hmm.
This is a life-saving remedy for me. I no longer feel dysphoric about my breast, and there's initial euphoria that happens. Other times it's an absolute horror show. And I've spoken to the nurses in the post-op, rooms after the transitions. And sometimes it's an absolute nightmare where the kid's like, I thought this would be the answer to everything. And what did you adults let me do? What did I do to myself? And so sometimes it could be a really horrific. Other times it begins like this never ending quest of like, okay, my breasts are gone, but now my hips look too big. Now I'm dysphoric about my hips. It's like an endless list of false summits. I mean, you climb 14ers and mountains out here in Colorado. It's like that's the summit. And then you get there and you're like, oh, that's the summit. And then you get there like, wait, no, that's the summit. And it's just this discouragement of thinking you're finally at the peak, but you realize how far you have to go. And I remember listening to one individual who had gone through all the procedures. And when this person was done, they're like, okay, I did all of it. What's left now? Maybe just to swallow a whole bottle of pills. And so that's what they did. They swallowed a whole bottle and then they spit them out, thanks be to God, and decided that suicide wasn't the answer. And so a lot of times if regret comes afterwards, it creates a very difficult situation because like, wait a minute, I just told everybody on social media and everybody in my family and everybody in my workplace and everybody in my college that I am trans, I'm transitioning, and I'll be my most authentic self. And now I did all this stuff and it didn't really resolve my problems. It created more. What do I do now? I mean, do I just publicly announce, oh, never mind, oh, refer to me as this name now? Detransitioning can be a very difficult process. And that's why it's so important that we accompany these individuals instead of being like, oh, well, you say you're trans. Well, that's kind of like leprosy. I can't talk to you. Like, no. Let's walk with them. Even if they decide to go through it, let's walk with them in love and still remain a part of their lives, not necessarily to endorse what they're going to do to perhaps hurt their body, but to know that I'm still going to be here for you no matter what decision you make. And I want to love you enough to tell you the truth that I don't think this is going to end well. And here's some videos you might want to watch that could maybe make you think differently about this, and share some detransitioner stuff with them. But walk with them through this, because when they detransition, what they need to do is find each other in a sense, that they're not alone. If you get on websites like reddit.com and you just type in hashtag detrans, there's a subreddit there, which is like an online community forum of, last time I checked, it was 48.1 thousand individuals identifying as detransitioners. And they're screaming from the rooftops, hit the brakes. This is not the answer. They're starting blogs and websites and podcasts and lawsuits, and they're winning the lawsuits. So one of them named Kira Bell, a young woman out in the United Kingdom, she got puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, double mastectomy. And then in her early 20s, just kind of looked down at her body like, what happened? Like, how did you adults let me go through with this? And why did I do this? And so she sued the biggest gender clinic in the United Kingdom called Tavistock. Court case went all the way up to the High Court, which is like the Supreme Court over there in England. And these liberal progressive judges actually ruled in her favor that she could not have had, as a minor, informed consent to go through these procedures. And the court even said that puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones should be considered one treatment pathway instead of separate things. And they ruled in her favor. Now, their ruling was overturned by another appeals court, and I'm sure legal battles continue. But as a result of the whole thing, the biggest gender clinic, Tavistock, has been shut down. And it was fractured into smaller regional clinics that now focus more on mental health, which to me is the approach to go. Instead of just giving all the kids one label, trans, and then ushering them down this pipeline of transition, hitting the pause button. Like, okay, let's explore this. And so that's what you're seeing over in especially the Scandinavian countries right now. Finland, Norway, Sweden, Amsterdam, they're doing a U-turn right now. It's very difficult to get puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones as a young person over there. The waiting list for these transitioning services, 18 months. Then they're going to take like another 9 months to investigate your case, see if you're a suitable candidate. And from the adolescent's perspective, it's like, wait, you're not going to get back to me, for like a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years. By the time you get back to me on this, my puberty is going to be finished. And from the doctor's perspective, it's like, exactly. That's what we're trying to do, is buy time. Because if a kid can just go through puberty naturally, 80 to 95% of the time, gender dysphoria will desist on its own.